Good afternoon. This is the World News on Champion 90.7 FM. I'm Mariam, okay? Here are the headlines. SDS pushes for stronger teacher training to boost education reform. UNESCO reports global surge in out of school children to 273 million. And from the foreign scene, Nigeria and European Union strengthen ties on trade, security and investment. Now let's take a closer look at the stories. The Schools Development and Support SDS has called for targeted reforms in Nigeria's education sector, emphasizing the need to equip teachers with modern tools, continuous training, and improved school infrastructure. The announcement was made during the two-day SDS Creative Teachers Training in Lagos, which drew over 200 participants from schools across multiple states, with additional virtual attendees nationwide. Speaking at the event, SDS CEO Anthony Wachuko Isiani highlighted the initiative as a way to strengthen educators' professional skills and promote STEM education to enhance Nigeria's global competitiveness. SDS stressed that effective education requires creativity-driven teaching, teacher motivation, and locally relevant solutions to bridge the gap between policy vision and classroom implementation. The program also featured presentations from educational consultants and practitioners who shared insight on improving teacher-student engagement, classroom practices, and professional fulfillment. However, SDS announced plans to conduct additional training sessions across the country later in 2026 to further empower teachers and advance education delivery. The AIDS Healthcare Foundation has urged the Nigerian government to increase budgetary allocations to the health sector, focusing on HIV and AIDS as well as tuberculosis in light of declining international donor support. Mr. Steve Aburishade, Senior Advocacy and Marketing Manager at AHF Nigeria, made a call during a meeting with the leadership of the Kogi State House of Assembly. He emphasized that sustaining progress in HIV and AIDS treatment requires stronger collaboration among government, civil society organizations, and implementing partners, alongside increased domestic funding. Speaker of the Kogi State House of Assembly, Aliyu Umar Yusuf, represented by the chairman of the House Committee on Health, pledged continued legislative support, including leveraging mechanisms to ensure timely release of approved health sector funds. Stakeholders highlighted the need for intensified public awareness campaigns on tuberculosis and stronger government interventions to further mitigate the impact of reduced foreign aid. The meeting concluded with an award presented to the Speaker for his sustained support of public health initiatives. Tiv communities in southern Taraba and parts of Benue State are under severe security threat, prompting a senior military officer to appeal for urgent intervention from President Bola Ahmed Tinubu and the National Assembly. The officer reported that coordinated attacks over the past 2 weeks have destroyed homes, farmlands, and harvested crops, forcing residents to flee. Tragically, 2 of his step-brothers were ambushed and killed when they returned to access their ancestral home. He called for swift government action and prayers to restore peace warning that failure to respond could exacerbate displacement and humanitarian suffering in the region. Meanwhile, residents are currently living in fear as recurring attacks continue to disrupt livelihoods and community life. The Lagos State's prominent indigenes has called for indigenes of Lagos State to occupy key leadership positions ahead of the 2027 general elections, including the offices of Governor, Deputy Governor, and Speaker of the State House of Assembly. The position was reached at a technical committee meeting of the group, where members emphasized the need for equity, identity preservation, and stronger stakeholder alignment in the governance of the state. The group also declared its support for the re-election of Bola Ahmed Tinubu for a second time in office. In a communique signed by its convener, Adesumbo Onitiri, the group outlined criteria for prospective candidates, including verified Lagos ancestry, proven integrity, leadership experience, and demonstrable achievement. It added that aspirants must exhibit sound character, professionalism, and a commitment to societal values. The group further stated that it would engage qualified contenders in a bid to identify and support candidates capable of delivering effective and inclusive governance for Lagos State. In economic news, the Nigerian National Petroleum Company says Nigeria is attracting increased global demand for its liquefied natural gas cargoes, driven by shifting energy dynamics and geopolitical tensions in the Middle East. Speaking at the CERAWeek Energy Conference in Houston, NNPC Executive Vice President Olalekan Ogunleye noted that Nigeria's strategic location and vast gas reserves are positioning it as a preferred supplier to key markets in Europe and beyond. He added that the company is exploring expansion plans, including additional LNG production trains and a 12 million metric tons per annum project to harness over 200 trillion cubic feet of gas reserves. The development comes amid efforts to strengthen Nigeria's gas export capacity, despite past disruptions caused by pipeline vandalism in the Niger Delta. Officials say production is gradually stabilizing, with the Nigeria LNG Limited currently exporting up to 22 million metric tons annually and working towards completing a seventh train by 2027. Industry experts note that growing global demand for alternative gas supplies present an opportunity for Nigeria to expand its market share as countries seek to diversify energy sources and reduce supply risk. The European Union, in partnership with the Czech Republic, Austria, and Latvia, has launched a new initiative to strengthen food security and promote sustainable agriculture in Nigeria through climate smart technologies. The program, introduced under the EU Nigeria Twinning Project, aims to provide technical expertise and support the development of resilient agricultural systems. Speaking at the launch in Abuja, Minister of State for Agriculture and Food Security, Aliyu Sabi Abdullahi, highlighted the growing challenges facing the sector, including climate change, flooding, drought, and pest, noting that these have significantly affected productivity and farmers' livelihoods. Also speaking, the EU ambassador to Nigeria and ECOWAS, Gautier Magnot, stressed the need for strong institutions and effective policies to address food insecurity and environmental pressures. He explained that the initiative would support a review of Nigeria's agricultural resilience framework and provide actionable recommendations to improve implementation. Officials say the collaboration will enhance institutional capacity, bridge policy gaps, and deliver practical solutions aimed at boosting food production and ensuring long term sustainability across Nigeria's agricultural value chain. On the global stage, the United Nations Educational, Scientific and Cultural Organization has reported that the number of out-of-school children and youth globally has risen to 273 million, marking the seventh consecutive year of increase. The revelation is contained in its 2026 Global Education Monitoring Report, which highlights growing challenges in access to education worldwide. According to the agency, 1 in 6 school-age children is currently out of school, while only about two-thirds complete secondary education, reflecting a slowdown in global progress since 2015. UNESCO attributed the trend to factors such as conflict, rapid population growth, and underfunding, particularly in developing regions like sub-Saharan Africa. The report also noted a significant education financing gap, warning that limited resources and systemic pressures continue to hinder access to quality learning. In Nigeria, estimates suggest between 18 and 20 million children remain out of school, underscoring the scale of the crisis and the urgent need for increased investment and policy reforms to improve educational outcomes. The United Nations General Assembly has adopted a landmark resolution declaring the enslavement of Africans as the gravest crime against humanity, while calling for reparations for Africans and people of African descent. The resolution, backed by 123 countries, marks a significant step in global recognition of the historical injustice and its lasting impact. It was spearheaded by Ghana on behalf of the African Group, with John Dramani Mahama describing the move as a pathway to justice, healing, and reparative action. The United Nations emphasized that the transatlantic slave trade, which spanned over 4 centuries, led to widespread exploitation and enduring inequalities still evident today. Secretary General Antonio Guterres called for concrete global effort to address systemic racism and economic disparities affecting people of African descent. However, the resolution faced opposition from countries, including the United States, which rejected calls for reparations, highlighting ongoing global divisions over how to address historical injustices. Now on entertainment. Veteran Nigerian rapper Rugged Man has criticized the use of Afrobeat as a blanket label for African music, arguing that it misrepresents the continent's musical diversity and allows talentless artists to hide behind catchy beat and repetitive lyrics. In an interview, Rugged Man said many artists tagged as Afrobeats rely heavily on autotune and manufactured hits, often struggling with live performances and freestyling. He described the genre, particularly in the UK, as a convenient label for artists who prioritize promotion over musical skill. Rugged Man emphasized that true African music is diverse and should not be confined to a single commercialized genre, stressing that the Afrobeat label has been misapplied both locally and internationally. All right, let's do a quick recap of our headlines. SDS pushes for stronger teacher training to boost education reform. UNESCO reports global surge in out-of-school children to 273 million. And from the foreign scene, Nigeria and European Union strengthen ties on trade, security, and investment. That wraps up the world news on Champion 90.7 FM. I am Mariam Oke. Please stay with us for more updates and reports from across the globe. Wishing you a very pleasant and swell afternoon. And don't forget to join Kufe Ekbe.